All right, let's make an invoice. On the left-hand menu, we'll click on Invoices. So I can create an invoice by clicking here, here, or through the shortcut menu, Create Invoice. We'll select a customer, and this is where all of your invoicing happens. So in the upper left, we have our invoice number. So if I put in 1145, my next invoice will be 1146. So I'm just going to keep this at 1 for now. Next are the dates. So this is going to be today's date. You can always change this in the past or the future, as well as your due date. Now your due date is selected by default you have in your settings. So you can change this. Let's say this is going to be 30-day due date from today. Next, email to Mark Johnson. We can choose to not send this invoice to this client. If we have multiple contacts, I can select which people to send this invoice to and which not to send it to, which is cool because we can do that on an invoice level. Next is the currency. If I change this to, let's say, COP, it's going to completely change this entire invoice, and you'll see that happen once we have more items in here. But remember, this can create some reporting issues. So for right now, I'm just going to keep it on USD. So this is the customer info. I can either edit the customer info directly from here, or I can change the customer if I have a different customer. In this case, I only have one, so we'll leave it as is. On the right here, this is our logo. I have not yet uploaded a logo, but if you do, it's going to show right here. A lot of people ask, what is the job description? Well, what kind of job are we doing? If you have a job such as website development, I'll put in website development. That can consist of content creation or SEO or development, whatever that is. We'll know that this is for the website development because that customer might have different invoices for different things with your company. And in this case, I'm going to say this is consulting services. We need to do some strategy consulting. And I'm going to add another line here, which is website development. Since I don't have it in my items, I'm just going to quickly create that for 10 pages, and I'm going to price that out at, let's say, $1,500, no taxes, and this is product sales, save item. So now I have these two items, and there's a couple things I can do. I can add a discount on an item level and say I'm going to discount this 10%, and I'm going to discount this $150. And you're going to see that reflected right here. But maybe I had 2.5 hours in consulting, so I'll bump that up. Now, payment terms, I'm going to say, please pay invoice within 30 days. And thanks for your business. Now, we can always add these directly on the customer level, so these populate every single time you create an invoice for that customer. Now, let's say I add business card printing here that we created earlier, because there's taxes associated with it. It's going to add a tax right here, and it's going to show me the California sales tax right here. Now I can do an additional discount on this entire invoice of 10%. We suggest not doing this because customers might get confused, like, are you discounting me on the item level or the entire invoice? So we always suggest either discount them on an item level or run the discount on the invoice level. So I'm just going to delete this, apply, and that's how. So if we scroll down a little bit more, we can upload files here. So I can choose which files to upload to which invoice. That way, when the customer sees it, they're also going to see the files associated with that invoice. And that's pretty much it. We've created the invoice. Now it's time to figure out how we want to get paid, what kind of reminders to send, or if we want to charge late fees. So on the right-hand side here, which types of payments are we accepting? If this is set up, it'll show it right here. If you watch the company settings video, it'll show you exactly how to set up all of these different payment types. Now, let's say if we want to charge a late fee, we don't have any late fee profiles. I can create one from here, or I can select one I've already created in the past. So if this is, let's say, 15-day late fee, we're going to say this is 15 days after the due date, and I'm going to charge 10%. Let's save that. Let's talk about reminders. These are emails that will automatically send reminder emails to your customers. You can also customize your reminders by clicking on invoice reminders, and we have a different video for that. And you can customize everything from the reminder name to dates, when it happens. You can drop in customized text and tags and everything else. So we'll touch that in another video. But for right now, we're pretty much ready to send this invoice. So if I click on save, that'll save it. And then I can go to edit, or I can mark it as sent. I can add a payment. But now I have a saved invoice with an invoice number. Let's go back to edit where we were just a minute ago. And I want to preview this invoice and then send it. So if I click on preview, I see exactly what's here. I see the totals. and I see it's going out to Mark. I can also add additional recipients here, or I can change the subject or the message. All of this is fully customizable in your settings, which are discussed in different videos. I can by default choose to attach an invoice as a PDF, add attachments in this email, and this is that shareable link that we talked about. So if I click on this, and if I drop this in a different page, this customer is going to see this invoice just like this. They can download it, or if you've set up some payment options, they'll be able to pay it right here. Let's click on invoices. I can see that this is a draft. Now, as soon as I send it, that's when it's going to be marked as sent. And then every time the customer views the invoice or downloads the invoice, you're going to get that notification right here. Now, there's a bunch of other super cool things that I can do once an invoice is created. So if I hover over it, I can preview it, or I can just send it, and boom, it's out by clicking send. If I go back to the invoice page, I can click on these three dots and I can add a payment, preview, download. I can send the invoice. I can get that shareable link, or let's say I want to view the customer. If I view the customer, I see here's an invoice. It's still a draft. Going back into this, I can edit, duplicate, save as template, or convert to recurring. These are awesome features because I can say, hey, I'm just going to duplicate this invoice, and it'll open that up with those line items. And if I want to bill a different customer, I can just change the customer, click on save, and I'm done. Or I can go in and save this as a template. Maybe I invoice a lot of customers with this template and I want to call it website dev. I can also convert this invoice to a recurring profile. Now we'll talk about this in a different video because there's so much happening on the recurring invoices and there's a lot of awesome automation here. We'll touch on that in the recurring video. But for right now, you can create your invoices, edit your invoices, pretty much do whatever you want and customize them however you need. Any questions, please let us know. Thanks.